So you're either a fan of this show, and thank you with all the heart faces if you are, and you've been hanging out with me for a while, or maybe you clicked on this episode because you're thinking, can this actually be real? Can you really plan out your week and have it show up in your calendar automatically using AI? And I am here to tell you, yes, absolutely you can. And I'm going to walk you through exactly how I do it, step by step. From structuring my week in a way that actually fits my real life to building a file that goes straight into Google Calendar with just an upload. This system has helped me so much stop overscheduling myself, stay present with my family, and run my business in an actual sustainable way. It's simple, it's repeatable, and the best part, you can do it too. I can't wait to get started. Welcome to AI for Mompreneurs. This podcast is for moms who are tired of doing everything the hard way. You're running a business, managing a home, caring for your children, and making a million decisions daily. Exhausted, overwhelmed, burned out, and out of time. Another planner won't fix it. More productivity hacks won't either. I know because I've been there. I'm Samantha Welch, a wife, a mom to 3 daughters, homeschooling my girls and my niece, running multiple businesses, and managing my 40-acre farm. I've burned myself out more times than I can count trying to do it all with excellence. The game changer, AI. When I learned how to use AI as my personal assistant, everything shifted. I finally had systems that worked, clarity in my business, and more time for what actually matters. Now I'm here to help you do the same. Learn how AI can take the mental load off your plate so you can focus on what truly matters most. No tech jargon or complicated setups here. Just AI that works for mamas just like us. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Okay, so I'm going to go through my 6-step framework on how I create my schedule in ChatGPT and then upload it to my Google Calendar. So the first thing I do when I sit down to plan my week, which is usually on a Monday morning, is I write out my non-negotiables. Some of these don't change week by week, so once you write them out for the first time, you won't have to do it again. I do this in like a notes app, or even you can do it on a piece of paper if that's more comfortable for you. Non-negotiables are things that must happen at a specific time. So things like homeschooling for me. Homeschooling has to happen between 9 and noon, Monday through Thursday. It's a non-negotiable, has to happen. My focused business block, that has to happen too. That's 7 to 9 Monday through Thursday. That has to happen. Any scheduled calls or appointments, those change weekly, but they're still non-negotiables for that week. They have to happen at that scheduled time. And then anything else that might be locked in and doesn't move. And those change depending on the season of life that I'm in. And like I said, some of these stay the same every week, such as like homeschooling, focused business block, etc. And then some change, of course, depending on appointments and calls and whatever, depending on what's going on. Either way, I always start by blocking out what's already spoken for. The next step is I add in my flexible tasks. So once my non-negotiables are written down, I move on to what I call like my flexible tasks. These are things that need to get done this week, but when they happen can shift around. So things like editing a photo session if I had one, answering some of my emails, some admin work, running errands, housework, all that stuff has to get done in a week, but it doesn't necessarily have to be Monday at 8 a.m., right? When I'm writing those down, they don't have a time slot yet. Here's a little side note trick that I use that I just want to add in there is I try to batch similar tasks so I'm not constantly switching gears. So for example, when I either publish or schedule out a podcast episode, then I immediately go and I turn it into a blog post, and I immediately go and turn them into blog posts, newsletters, etc., because it's easier for my brain just to be able to stay in that one mode. That goes with like housework, errands. If I'm going to town, I'm running all those errands in one day. So I will batch the errands and set up like and I'm a little bit crazy like this, but I will set up like the exact route I'm going to be taking through town to get all the errands done. With the housework, I just go ahead and take it room by room, get it done, so I don't have to worry about jumping from one item to another. It's just a lot easier for my brain to not bounce around all week. The next step is I hand it to my assistant. So remember, we wrote down our non-negotiables, we wrote down our flexible tasks. Now comes the part that makes this so much easier. You give that schedule to your AI assistant. Because I've already trained my assistant on what a normal week looks like, and this is where at the beginning of using, I wrote down my ideal schedule and kind of what a week needs to look like. Then I can give my list of non-negotiables and my flexible tasks and ask it to build me out a realistic schedule based on what I tell it I actually can do. So here's kind of the prompt that I would use for that. Here's what I need to get done this week. Use my usual routine to create a realistic weekly schedule. Make sure to keep my fixed time blocks in place and fill in the rest based on what makes the most sense, keeping like tasks together. And then it will build a draft of my week using the exact rhythm that I have trained it with. This makes it feel so doable because it already knows what I've trained it that my week should probably look like. So it's not some idealistic Pinterest productivity nonsense that's like, oh, well, that sounds good in theory, but it's not based on my life at. The next step is review and approve this schedule. So once my assistant gives me the draft of the schedule, I review it. I ask myself, does this feel manageable? Is there breathing room? Have I crammed too much into one day? Because I'm super bad about doing that. Do I actually want to follow this? Then I give my assistant feedback. And when you get started, you're going to probably give a lot of feedback. You're going to say, this isn't doable. I can't do it on those days. I can't do this on this day. I need you to switch that around. This is your chance not only to make all those small tweaks and to communicate with your assistant or reassign a task to a different day, but this is also your chance to train your assistant even better on what a week has to look like for you. You're still the boss of your schedule. AI is just there to do the heavy lifting of putting it all together so you can visually see it and be like, oh, yes, okay, this is what I'm doing this week. The next step, though, which is the fun part, is exporting it as a CSV file, which is the Google Calendar format. So whenever your schedule looks great, when you've got it all nailed down, you've communicated, you're like, yes, I can do this. This is an amazing schedule. And remember, the more you do this, the less you'll have to tweak. At this point now, I can just put any new non-negotiables, any of the flexible tasks that I have to get done in the week, and it will create for me a schedule that I don't even have to tweak anymore, just because I've taken the time to communicate and train it on the front end. So, to make the CSV file, I want you to put this prompt in, and it is super important that you get the prompt right because you want it to make sure it makes the file correct, or it could actually mess up your calendar instead of adding it correctly into the calendar. So you're going to say, and I will have this prompt in the show description too, so that it doesn't mess up for you. Create a CSV file for this weekly schedule with a start date, end date, start time, end time, and title for each event. Format it for Google Calendar import. Like I said, you have to be specific in this. If you don't add those details like start date, end date, start time, end time, and title, your calendar will end up being chaotic with repeated entries and missing blocks because it didn't do a start time or it didn't do an end time or whatever else. The next is uploading that bad boy. Okay, so once you have that CSV file created, which ChatGPT will create it right there, you open your Google Calendar and you follow these steps because it took me a minute And if you forget these steps, just simply go into your ChatGPT and ask it, how do I upload this to my Google Calendar? And it will give you these steps as well. So the first step is you click on the settings gear at the top right corner. So you're in your Google Calendar and you're clicking on that settings gear. The second is in the menu on the left. You click import. You choose your CSV file and then you assign it to the correct calendar if you have multiple calendars in your account. Click import, refresh the page, and boom, oh my gosh, your entire week is now in Google Calendar. Time blocks, appointments, focus time, all of it is there. You just literally now you'll be able to look at your calendar and know exactly what you're doing that day. There's going to be no more going back and forth wondering what you're supposed to do that day. It is already there. So now that I'm thinking about it, I'm actually going to create a step-by-step guide for you. So in the description of this show, there will be a link where you can go and download the actual guide with all the steps and everything you need to do in order to create your schedule and put into your Google Calendar. This is going to be amazing. But for real though, I'm telling you, this simple system changed everything for me. I finally feel like my week has structure, no stress. And if you're listening and thinking, okay, I want this, but I don't even know how to start setting up an assistant like that. I don't know, how do you get your assistant to do what you want? I've got you. I offer a one-on-one AI assistant training session where I will help you. I'll build your personalized assistant. I'll train it with your values, your routines, your business tasks, everything it needs to know about you to be the best assistant ever. And then you will walk away with a tool that thinks like you so that you are never again having to start from scratch. It will be this simple thing where you will put in this schedule and it will just whip out what you need. You'll be able to ask it a question and it will know how you think on these things. If this sounds like something that you need, let's get you set up. You can find the link in the description and you can head over to my website for more information. I am telling you, this program has seriously changed lives. Like Abby, who said, ChatGPT is one of the most powerful tools now in my daily rhythm, helping me take scattered thoughts and turn them into clear, actionable steps for my business and life. Samantha's training made it intuitive, emotionally intelligent, and shockingly helpful. If you're juggling a lot and need clarity and structure, this is it. I hope this episode has given you a fresh way to look at your time and the tools to finally make your schedule work for you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I cannot wait for next week. That's it for today's episode. I hope you learned something new or had a breakthrough. If you loved this episode, take a second to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It lets me know you're enjoying this content and helps more moms find it. And if you know another mama who's struggling with overwhelm and burnout, share this with her. Let's spread the word that AI isn't just for corporate executives or tech nerds, it's for moms like us. Until next time, go make AI work for you.